Meet Team Exudate. This ragtag team of rascals comes with a mighty reputation, but when you've got a wound, you'll be glad they're on your side. And no group is better suited when it comes to exudate and normal wound healing. So, let's get started with our culprit, the wound. Does that TV work? Let's see what happens when an injury occurs. Upon wounding, inflammation, the first stage of wound healing, is triggered. Inflammatory mediators such as histamine are released into the blood to increase the permeability of the capillaries. This allows essential cells and molecules for healing to pass through the capillary wall into the wound. The resulting fluid is exudate. So, upon wounding, all the components of tissue repair work as a team and together form exudate. Exudate is an essential fluid to deliver what's needed to start the wound healing process. It bathes the wound bed to keep the wound from getting dry. Moist wounds heal 2 to 3 times more quickly than wounds that are allowed to dry out and scab over. So, why do we need exudate? Although it appears to be a simple fluid, it contains so much. Clotting agents to stop bleeding on initial wounding, nutrients that provide energy for cellular repair, white blood cells that clean the wound at different stages of healing, growth factors that control healing activity, protease enzymes that break down proteins in the wound, and protease enzyme inhibitors prevent proteases from being active once their job is done.
The wound fight is on. A fight our team normally could win in their sleep, but something is different. This isn't just any wound, this wound is infected. As common as wound infection is, it doesn't make the battle any easier, and it's one that needs to be won to get the healing process back on track. And as you can see, it's got our team with their backs against the wall. And if Mr. X is this panicked, I'm not sure they'll find a way out of this jam. Wound healing isn't always under attack like this though. Our team has seen better times.
Now, the exudate team are where they should be and ready for action. Ready to promote good wound healing, protect peri-wound skin, and manage symptoms. Well-managed and effective wound exudate optimizes the patient's condition and quality of life, and ultimately helps a wound heal as and when it should. Dressings with different permeability, level of absorbency, and retention capacity can offer different total exudate management for good moisture balance. Examples of dressings for exudate management include gelling fibers, foams, and superabsorbents. If improperly managed, exudate inefficiency can cause wound healing delays, poor quality of life, and increased cost of treatment for both healthcare system and the patient.
So let's meet some of these ruffians, shall we? Staphylococcus aureus, a high toxicity bacteria. Pseudomonas aeruginosa, bacteria with the typical blue-green colour and fruity-smelling discharge. S. aureus and P. aeruginosa are the most common bacteria isolates in chronic wound, and together they are more virulent than alone. And the big bad boy, Escherichia coli, better known by his aka E. coli. E. coli is one of the leading causes of wound infection, and as you can see, he's ready for action. And speaking of action, here they come. Look out below! Wounds can become infected in a number of ways. Involved. There are 5 stages. The contamination stage, where microbes contaminate the wound but don't cause a response in the host, and the host's defenses destroys them quickly. The colonization stage, where the microbes increase in numbers but still don't delay wound healing. In these 2 stages, it's important to be vigilant, but intervention isn't usually required until the next 3 stages of the wound infection continuum. The local infection stage, where the microbes increase in greater numbers and move deeper into the wound. The spreading infection stage, where the affected area begins to spread from the wound and invade surrounding tissue. And finally, the systemic infection stage, where not only the wound and surrounding area, but the body is affected in the vascular and lymphatic systems, showing signs of sepsis and organ failure.
That's what makes the skin so important. It is the largest organ. It makes up roughly 16% of your body weight and needs to remain intact to allow the body to perform those functions, which is why proper wound healing is vital. Level 1, the epidermis. Comprised of dead flat cells, on most of the body it's thin, 0.1 millimeter, but 1.2 millimeters thick on your palms and the soles of your feet. The epidermis has no direct blood supply and receives nutrients and oxygen by diffusion from the dermis. Level 2, the dermis. The second layer contains blood vessels, nerves and cells, and the structures responsible for the functions of the skin. All of this against fibrous proteins of collagen that holds the body together, and elastin that gives flexibility and elasticity. Level 3, the subcutaneous tissue. The deepest, densest layer, made up of adipose and connective tissue that contains and protects larger blood vessels and nerves, anchoring the skin, allowing for some movement. And now you know what you need to know about the skin, it's time to watch the wound healing team in action.